Hi everybody, we're almost ready. In 3 minutes we're going to start our live webinar here from European headquarters here in Amersfoort, not far from Amsterdam. It's really nice meeting you all around the world, doing the finishing touch on my model tricks. But you will see in a few minutes what we're going to do. Focusing on cutting techniques, all of course in the cosmetology book of Farouk Systems, chapter 9, scientific approach of hair sculpting, hair cutting, based on the 4 principles of beautiful hair. Sectioning is really important, but you'll see that in a few minutes what we're going to do. So this is our European headquarters, wonderful place to be here in Holland, focusing on the European market, and by technology, like we see here now for YouTube Live, we're connecting the world around for our Chi Academy worldwide. So in the near future you will see more from us around the world doing this type of webinars to keep everybody up to date and of course inspired. But it's also a wonderful way of creating and stimulating people for the youngsters and of course also the schools around the world. I know in the US we have close to 600 member schools right now. Also welcome, of course, part of this webinar here. So sectioning, like I said, is really important. Made a beautiful color with our shine shades. I will explain about this a little bit later. Prior the hair cutting, and it's a little trick, I'm using the leave-in, keratin leave-in. It's a really wonderful product. It's a creamy product, but everything stays really nice on place. A little trick. I'm going to talk about it a little later. I think in a few minutes we go live here from Amersfoort. And in the meantime, you can see I did a beautiful section of the hair already in the model. It's one fringe area. We're going to connect the sides. We have a crown area and we have a middle and low nape area. We're going to do the latest fashion and trends. That means that we're not going to go really short, but we're going to create a lot of texture in the hair, so a lot of movement by the proper cutting techniques. Cutting techniques, like I said, Chi, of course, we have a lot of different things. This is the scissor I'm going to use. It's the Chi scissor. It's the 5.5 inch. It's wonderful for these small heads to create beautiful, precise cutting techniques. Behind me, the lines we're using of the Chi. As you know, Farouk Systems, the makers of Silk and Chi Professional Hair Care. And the latest one is the Chi Olive Organic line. All our products here behind us, but also in the near future, will go for, we'll try to reach the 98% green, so natural ingredients. And that's the hit for 2019. That's where we go with this beautiful company. So we go greener and greener every day. How are we doing, girls? On time? Are we on time?
Start.
Okay, it's time to start. The clock is going. Hello everybody, my name is Patrick Kalle, Artistic Director for Farouk Systems. It's a pleasure meeting you all here around the world in this first ever webinar of the Chi Academy. This is my model Rix, and we're going to use the cutting techniques of chapter 9 of a cosmetology book of Farouk Systems. Farouk Systems, a company based in Houston in the US, but here we are guest of our headquarters in the European market in Amersfoort, not far from Amsterdam. And it's nighttime here. It's wonderful to have everybody now connected. So what we did in the beginning with the rigs, we did start the sectioning, which is probably the most important one. Important is keeping the head straight up, because that gives you the right angles. Determine the highest point of the head, and from the highest point of the head we take like a smiley sectioning in the back of the head. We separate the fringe area in the front by a large triangle, and we keep the sides, the temple areas out. We're going to start here in the lower nape area, not creating a shorter line around the contour line, but I'm going to create internal layering technique and a graduation technique. At Farouk Systems, we give it a level code. So a level code, the first one, if you cut everything on one level, we call it 0. As soon as we start making more graduations and upper lines, we're going to call it 45. The uniform layers and the uniform layers around the head is 90. And the increased layering is meant to be like more than 180 degrees. So everything is based on degrees, what makes cutting really easy and simple. So we start in the middle, taking a vertical section. We make a horizontal projection. That means that the hair is projected horizontally. And you see that my fingers are facing the ceiling. I'm not going to cut off the length, so not from the bottom part, but from this point on, I used cutting technique palm to palm. This is going to be my guideline, and my guideline is going to be a mobile design line. That means that the first one goes to the second, second goes to the third, etc., until we reach behind the ear. So following the curve to skull, by projecting the hair horizontally. There you go, and we cut the ends off. Again, as you can see, we're not going to cut anything off the length. It's more creating texture in the hair right now. We have a program here in the European market. It's called the Healthy Hairdresser. That means that we try to work with our elbows below our heart line, which is really important, and that's why we do this palm to palm. That means that the fingertips are facing the ceiling. We distribute the hair horizontally, and we're going to cut off the ends, as you can see, like this. Following the curve of the scalps, and that gives me a lot of movement and a lot of texture in the back. Prior to the haircut, the sectioning, and prior to the sectioning, I use the leave-in keratin leave-in spray. That gives me more mobility of the hair. It's wonderful of combing, distributing, of course, but also keeping everything in place. This is a tricky area behind the ear. So what we did not a stationary guideline, but a mobile design line. But behind the ear here, the hair is most of the time a little bit thinner. So keep in mind that we need a little bit more length there. So I bring it to the previous section, still projecting the hair horizontally. My fingers are still facing the ceiling. And this is the way how I work around. Taking beautiful sections, mobile design line, and working yourself. And the last one here behind the ear, look. You see, you over-direct it. So technically, I create a little bit more length behind the ear, but important because otherwise you create quickly a hole here, and now we have still beautiful length. Take a look, you see that I keep the length, but you also can see that we create more texture. On the left side, we're going to do exactly the same, taking vertical sections, and we're cutting the line. For the people who tune in a little bit later, we're here live at Farouk Systems, the first ever webinar based on our sculpting techniques of chapter 9 of our cosmetology book. The technique what we're doing right now is called 180, so increasing layering techniques. And the last section behind the ear, I'm over-directing this to the back. We are here in behalf of Farouk Systems, the Chi Academies worldwide. And right now we are here live from Amersfoort, not far from Amsterdam. So we're on this side of the world. All right, so after creating this beautiful length, as you can see, we're changing tools quickly to our Chi razor. I'm going to lift the hair, about 45, and moving the razor from left to right and right to left, so in both ways, as you can see, like this and this. This gives me a beautiful soft texture in the end. It's not meant to make the hair thinner, it's only meant to create more texture and more movement. So the techniques what we're using now is a combination of different type of techniques and shapes. And like I said before, we work at Farouk Systems with 4 different shapes, which is called 0. We have a 45, we have a 90, and we have a 180. And all they give you different kind of directions and shapes. There you go. And this gives me that beautiful softness. As you can see, we still have the length here, but there's a lot of texture going on. Okay, so we go to the sides. After creating the back, we're going to the temple area. We release it. You can use your keratin leave-in spray, like this, and a little bit Chi water. And we're going to start at the temple area. At the temple area, I prepare the hair by distributing the hair already slightly to the back, so you can see your diagonal backward partings. From a diagonal backward partings, I take the temple area first, parallel to it, and I make use of a perpendicular distribution. That means that my fingers are parallel to the parting. Little trick what I always use is the back of the comb. If you position the back of the comb in the parting, the teeth of the comb show you in which direction you have to comb, and then you have to position your fingers parallel to your parting. For precise cutting techniques, especially at temple areas, use your fine side of the comb distribute the hair nicely, like this, and we use the razor behind our fingers without moving our fingers through. So you see I'm cutting parallel to my fingers in a very smooth diagonal line backwards. The angle of your fingers determines the length of the hair here behind the ear, so make sure that you connect it visually with the line behind the ear. And for everybody on the other side of the internet, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to type them down and I will answer them shortly after you drop me the question. So at Farouk Systems, we're working with more than 600 member schools right now in the United States. Really proud that they are part of our beautiful product line and system. Sculpting techniques are of course really important, and we created a chapter which is called Chapter 9. And Chapter 9 contains the basic sculpting techniques as we're all supposed to learn them. Of course, later, after you know the 4 basic structures, fun starts by being creative and mixing all these different techniques together to give your own touch. As you can see here, I'm still working perpendicular, taking this whole area to the front, taking the razor and work backwards and connecting it to the length in the nape. Short hair is pushing long hair away, so when I comb this in a natural fold distribution, you can see that I still have the length here in the back, but you can see that there's a very smooth movement from the front to the back. So automatically the hair from rings will be pushed slightly to the back and we create more length in the lower nape area. After doing the left side, we go to the right side. We're going to try to do exactly the same. That means our finger positions and hand positions needs to be also exactly the same. Clip this area out. Take a little bit, leave in keratin mist and a little bit chi water. There you go. Distribute the hair already in the direction of your parting, so that's diagonal to the back. Take our first parting in the front. We take our razor and distribute the hair perpendicular to the parting. Teeth to the part. Comb in the parting, bring it forward, your fingers are parallel to your parting. And look what I'm doing now, I'm taking the razor, I go overhand and I cut parallel to my fingers. This to create the same feeling as the other side. So go overhand and then you create your line. Next section. This is the section which is important to make a connection to my existing length. So I have a visual contact with the back. Take it forward. There you go. Fingers are parallel to your parting. Overhand. You see your line and we connect it behind the ear. Really wonderful, smooth connection. Okay, so continue doing this beautiful soft distribution using the fine side of the comb and connect the lines. This trend cut, what we're doing right now on Rixt, is based on a scientific approach. Of course, there's a lot of creative techniques in this haircut, as well as we work with, of course, always different textures. Sometimes I get this question about using razors. In some parts of the world it's very common to use the razors, but there's always questions about the structure of the hair. Does it damage the hair? Well, the answer is no, it doesn't damage the hair if you know the right techniques, of course. So using the right techniques on a different type of hair is really important when you use the razor. So from the crown, we're going to the fringe area. And in the fringe area, I'm going to use a pinching technique. And the pinching technique, because I like to work with a shorter fringe area. If you look to the trends right now, you see a lot of short fringe, or at least fringes in the hair. Depending on the length of the hair, we can go short or long. So I release the area here in the front. There you go. Take the first section. The first section is parallel to the hairline, as you can see here. Bring it forward. Pinching, so we bring it together, look, like this. And we put our thumb on it. Now imagine what I'm doing right now, I'm bringing it exactly to the middle. So when I cut this hair off here, I automatically create a concave. But if I know already that the fringe needs to go to the left, it needs to be a little bit shorter at the right, I can do this easily off-center too. So I position it now to the right of the nose, I cut it the same way, and automatically, of course, I have an increasing length towards the side. So depending on how you like to style the hair, you make your projection angle. I go for a symmetric feeling, so I distribute the hair nicely together. I pinch it together, put my fingers on the thumb on the piece of hair, take my razor and I cut. There you go. Next one, next section here. Distribute it forwards, put it together, and I cut the line. There you go. So this gives me, if you take a look, a concave fringe area at the front, which makes it really soft. And if you take a look to the trend collections in the winter, fringes are important, like I just say, a frame around the face is like a frame around a beautiful painting. Especially in winter season, you see that gives you a lot of comfort in this, and also particularly in this haircut. Alright, so crown area, as we can see here, this is the last area. We're going to release it. Then before we're going to cut the hair, we're going to take a middle part. And this middle part, we first going to create layers. In our system, we always say that you start cutting at the area where you remove the most of the length, or where the biggest change will be. The biggest change in this case is not the connection to the lower part, but the biggest change will be the type of layering we do at the top. So I distribute the hair to the back. I take diagonal backward partings, bring it back to the base, and we do our point cutting at the top. But as you can see, parallel to the fingers again and diagonal to the back. Next section. Bring it back. And there we go. Connecting beautifully our layers, which is called 180. And the beautiful thing about creating layers or graduations, when we do this in diagonal partings, you will see that there is a beautiful blend of different lines in the hair. So take your section again, there you go, and bring it to the crown area. And at the crown area we can see a little notch here and a connection to the lower area. There we go. And you see how beautiful this blend is in this particular haircut. Okay, now the other side, you position yourself on the other side. Distribute also the hair diagonal to the back. You can take your guideline from the right side, overlap it, and take your next section. And do point cutting at the layering at the top of the head. We are a guest here at Farouk Systems Chi Academy in Amersfoort, not far from Amsterdam. Our main headquarters is based in Houston. We have more than 160 countries distributing Farouk Systems products in two different lines, the Chi and the BioSilk, well known of course, the BioSilk lines and the Chi professional lines, as we see them here also strongly in the European market. Okay, so after creating the layers, 180, the last thing what we have to do is connecting the layer from the interior to the layers in the lower nape area. You can take vertical partings over here, and here you can see the connection what we have to make. Turn it around, put your fingers down, there you go, to the ceiling, your connection, and you work from the bottom to the top. It's only a few sections, but it gives us a really beautiful rounded layering and blend between the bottom part and the top layers. Again, behind the ear, bring it slightly to the middle. Make sure that we have a little increasing length behind the ear. There we go. as you can see how nice the line gets. Alright, so the next step after the haircut is using the right styling products. One of my favorite products before I'm gonna dry the hair is called the Chi Volume Booster. The Chi Volume Booster is a liquid spray. It's not as a mousse, but it's a spray, so it distributes really easily through the hair. I have a lot of clients that love the product just by itself because it gives you that really nice soft touch, and it's not sticky, and that gives the clients a lot of volume. So volume booster in the hair prior to blow drying. It's cool. And you can see the movement in the hair. If you take your fingers through it, you will see automatically the beautiful softness and movement. So using the well-known traditional BioSilk silk therapy. It's the #1 sold product around the world. Contains 17 amino acids and makes your hair stronger. There you go. Volume booster. The Chi Volume Booster, the spray prior blow drying. And you can see that for clients, but also for us as stylists, it's a product not really easily to manage, but also to distribute through the hair. Instead of having just a ball with mousse, we just spray some of the product now through the hair. So now I think I'm going to sing a song for you because I'm going to turn on the blow dryer. It makes a lot of noise, but in the meantime I can do some Dutch songs or English songs. Or I did it my way in New York, whatever comes by. Okay, so after these beautiful songs, we see a quick blow dry just with a vent brush, cheap vent brush, and our Onyx blow dryer. Something what I really like to share with you, because if we talk about technology, these blow dryers are wonderful. It has a lot of power. They're digital. You can adjust the temperature really nicely. The cold shut button is wonderful. Adjustable nose nozzle is really easy to do, and the black Onyx gives you more hydration in the hair, so more shine, which is really important, and that's because the two-way of the black Onyx inside of the iron blow dryer. Sorry. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit silk in the hair. Prior to this, I will explain you a little bit about our latest technology Chi iron. This is called the Chi Lava. This is fine hair. It's pre-colored. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. If I turn it on, normally the irons go up to 200, 220 degrees here in European. The good thing about the lava, because of the lava technology, I can reduce the temperature at least with 10%. So I bring it down now to 170, which is hot enough for the fine hair. But another thing is that because the technology of the lava distributes heat so well that you can use a lower temperature in setting, which is of course again better for your hair. The Shine On from the color protective line, the Chi Rose Hip, distributed nicely through the hair. I'm going to take our iron and smoothen the hair a little bit. At the same time, what I do right now, after using the shine, I'm pressing the silk in between the cuticle of the hair. This iron is totally safe for colored hair, so you can keep your color as beautiful as before, and it gives me, if you take a look, enormous amount of shine in the hair. So I actually create a better structure of hair with our Chi Lava iron. Working from the top to the bottom, just by touching the hair softly. There you go. I hope you all like this color. It's a color when Rix walked in, before I colored her hair, she was highlighted. She had an outgrow of about 1 inch, so a little bit more than 3 centimeters. And but she's a natural blonde herself, so it was not as blonde as the ends. But I thought, okay, let's start using a little bit darker root area, natural area. What we did, we used the Chi Shine Shade liquid color. It's called a 5-in-1 system. With this product you can make a demi-permanent color, a semi-permanent color, a permanent color, but also a toner and a treatment. Especially the toning and treatment part, I love to do that with my clients, especially when the hair is already pre-lightened and a lot of external damages to the hair. So this color really repairs the hair and brings it back in shape. I made a beautiful mixture between a product which is called Clear, and Clear is a product, and as the name it already tells you, it doesn't give you any color. It's a clear but gives you beautiful shine. Maximum 1 level of lift with 10 volume, but that's about it. But in combination with our violet additive, the violet additive, the 8RR, so which is the red tones, very light, and the 8C, and then imagine that from the 8RR and the 8C, you only use a cap on the 40 grams of color. Gives me that beautiful tonality, and if I use more clear than color, it gives me that beautiful treatment and toner in one time. Only 10 volume, so 3%, and 15 minutes, so no longer than that. So it's almost like permanent color in the shortest time I ever heard, in 15 minutes, and it gives you that brilliant look as you can see it here. Styling, I'm using the BioSilk. Really cool look, beautiful fringe, has that wispy, shaggy feeling in the back. Take a look for the profile, you can see the ends. You just work it out a little bit. Workable taffy from the Chi line. Reworkable taffy means that the product is reworkable. It doesn't give me a sticky end result, but it's more like a wax type of product, really creamy. Doesn't leave any color on your hands, but it's there, but you can feel it. You can take the ends, massage it in the ends, and work it out. Really get texture in the front. You see how strong these fringes are these days. And finishing touch with the Enviro Firm Hold Hairspray. Good job. Okay, that gives us a beautiful trend cut of chapter 9 at the Chi Academy. What did we do? Where did we start? We started by sectioning the fringe area. In the front area, we took out the crown area, the temple area, but the starting point was the lower nape area. In the lower nape area, we took vertical partings with our fingers to the ceiling and cut the corner off to keep the length, but we created more of a layered 180-degree texture here in the back. Then at the sides we were using a perpendicular distribution, fingers to the front. That gives us this beautiful diagonal line to the back and combined the lower nape area and the back. After the sides we went to the fringe area. At the fringe area we used a pinching technique in the center of the nose. Gives us a little bit more of a concave feeling, but as you can see you can restyle the hair slightly asymmetric. And then it was time for the 180-degree. The layering part in the interior part, we took diagonal backward partings, created a lot of layers in the hair, and that gives you that beautiful touch and that freedom in the hair. The color is a combination of clear, Chi Shine Shades 5-in-1, the 8RR, the 8C, and the violet additive, and I used it as a toner and treatment in one in a surface of 15 minutes over the pre-lighted hair and the regrow of about 1 inch. I hope you like it. My name is Patrick Kalle, Artistic Director for Farouk Systems. I don't know if you have any questions, if I see questions coming in. Is it clear for everybody? So that means that we do a good job. I hope so. I hope you like it. So again, my name is Patrick Kalle, Artistic Director. I was really happy to meet you all here around the world. Tomorrow we're in Bangkok, live in Bangkok for Miss Universe 2018. So I'm going to catch an early flight tomorrow, meeting all my colleagues from around the world and the 90 most beautiful women. And we're going to make beautiful hair, and also from there we're going to do some live streams. So all the best on the other side of the world. Farouk, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity here, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.